Hello everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I've been asked to do another tutorial on one of these tag journals. So I did one using my vintage floral kit, and I'll leave a link to that below. Once we get through the tutorial part of this, I will do an entire flip through of the decorated journal. So stay tuned. All right, to make this tag journal, never-ending tag journal, you're going to need to decide what papers you want to use. I'm using my vintage floral junk journal kit, and I've also printed out the ephemera that we may use in the journal as well. You'll also need some cardstock. This is 110-pound cardstock that I cut in half. And then you're going to need something to bind the tags together. This is coffee dyed muslin. It's 2 layers, and I just stitched around the edges. And these will be tucked inside each of the tags. So I've already cut my cardstock in half. This is probably way more than I need, and I need to do the same. So what I'm going to do is make one of the tags, cover it, and stitch around it, and then I'll do the rest of them off camera, and then we'll come back together and show how the journal is put together. All right, so I did print all of my pages borderless, so that just makes it a lot easier. And then we'll take this and we're going to glue it down. And I'm just going to use glue stick to do this. It's faster. And since I'm going to be stitching around each of my tags, it's not super crucial that you get glue all the way out to the edges, but if you're not going to stitch, you need to make sure that that glue is all the way to the edges. And then you just need something to kind of spread that glue out and get the paper good and adhere to that cardstock. And you want to make it into a tag shape. You can even tab shape. I can't talk. Tag shape. You want to use something like a store card to cut the edges. I'm just going to use this punch. It does not take a deep dip or bite into. Not a good idea to do this when your glue is wet. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just go stitch around the edges, and I'll be right back. Okay, I stitched around the edges, and now I'm going to glue. This is not necessary, but I like the distressed look. Plus, if you got a little bit of cardstock sticking out on the edge, inking it will make that go away. All right, so that's the front of the tag. And each one of these tags will also need a backing. So I printed out some of the lined pages in the kit, and I'm going to be using those or more neutral backgrounds to put on the back of my tag. So for example, if this was going to be the back of this tag, follow the same process that you did with this tag, do it for the backing, and then these two things will be attached. All right, so I'm gonna do this one more time, and then I'm going to go off camera and do the rest of my tags. Now the good thing about these never-ending journal tag journals is that you can make as many of these pages as you want. So I'm probably going to do in the 7 to 8 range. You can do yours however you want to do them. So let me go ahead and do this backing tag. Again, we're just going to cut it in half. This is 8.5 by 11 paper letter size. And if you cut everything like that, just makes the trimming a whole lot easier. Okay. Right. Spread that glue out. And do again what I told you not to do. Okay. And around the corners. Again, we have a little bit of cardstock showing out on the edge, but ink will take care of that. So I'm going to stitch this and then we'll come back. All right, so the backing tag is now finished. I'm going to ink around it. So now we have a tag front and a tag back, and these two are going to adhere together to make the first page of the tag journal, okay? So to recap, you need some cardstock. I'm using 110. Use whatever you have handy. The thicker, the more sturdy your journal is going to be. You need some decorative papers to use. I printed them borderless, so all I have to do is cut them in half and adhere them to the cardstock. Okay, then cut your tag corners, round the bottom corners if you wish, and then sew around. Again, this is optional. You can just use glue, and that's good enough as long as you've glued well enough to the edges. All right, decide how many pages you want. So for instance, if you want 7 tags in your journal, you're going to need to make 14 tags, one for the front and one for the back. You don't have to have lined paper for the back. Use whatever you want. That just happens to be what I'm choosing to do. All right, so I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to make the rest of my tags, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to assemble the tags into a journal. Here's the tag journal all finished. I actually tried to make a video of this and made so many mistakes that I just finally had to cut it off and finish it off camera. But that's okay, because we're gonna make another one using some different paper. I have repeated the process of cutting in half some cardstock, and this is actually coffee dyed scrapbook paper. Cut that down, made it into a tag shape, rounded the corners, and then stitched all the way around each tag. So this is my front tag pieces and my back tag pieces. So for this one, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tags, which means you need 7 pieces of fabric to attach the tags together. All right, So to get started, you want one front, decide what you want your front tag to be. This is what I have picked for my front tag. And this is the tag back for that tag. All right. So to get started, you are going to attach a fabric strip to the left-hand side of your tag, and it'll look something like this. Okay. So let me go ahead and get that attached, and I'm using Fabri-Tac. Yeah, the other video, I made a couple mistakes, and I said, well, that's okay. But after making 2 or 3 more, I'm like, okay, that's embarrassing now. We're just going to start over. Okay. You want your fabric strip to be attached between this point and the bottom of the tag. All right, so for this, we're just going to glue the entire back of the tag and attach it. And line that up. They're probably not going to be perfect, but you can always ink or trim where necessary. Okay, that looks good. Give it a good press. Okay, and then flip it over. And the key to this is, and it can get confusing, is whatever is facing up, like this is a tag back, the next tag you're going to attach is going to be a tag front, and vice versa. Every time you flip, it'll be either a tag front or a tag back, but never the two in line with each other. All right, so this is a tag back. My next tag front is here. Okay, so we want to attach that here, and we want to leave about 1/4 inch space between the 2 tags. And these spaces can be used later to actually sew in journal pages. All right, so I'm going to glue down the side here. Okay, give that a good press. Make sure everything is lined up pretty good. And then we're going to flip it over. All right. Before we attach the next tag, this is a tag front, the next will be a tag back. We want to attach another strip of fabric right here. All right. Tag front, tag back. Now, if you are not using a specific tag back, this really doesn't matter. It'll be less confusing. But I usually will choose a tag back that doesn't have a whole lot going on, so that if you wanted to do some journaling on it, you could. I'm going to line these tags up. You have a little bit of wiggle room with some Fabri-Tac. Turn it over and make sure that's lined up really good together. And it is. So we're going to give that a good press. All right, let's flip it again. Tag front. Now we're going to attach a tag back. And if you've got a gridded map, kind of use that to help you keep everything straight. It's not going to be perfect, but keeping it as straight as you can is a good idea. All right, so flip it again, tag back, and now we're going to put on a tag front. But before we do that, we need to add another paper strip. Fabric strip. And my strips are 8 inches long, which is just the space between this point and the bottom of the tag. Whatever size tag you use, you'll need to adjust your strips for that. Okay? Turn it over and line it up. Press it down really good. And then flip it over again. All right, so here we have a tag back, and now we're going to add another tag front. Okay, turn it over. We have a tag front, and now we're going to add a tag back. But before we do that, add another fabric strip. And you can use as many tags as you want. You can make your tags any size you want. Again, I'm probably repeating myself, but I just printed all of my, for this journal here, I printed all my papers at 8.5 by 11 and just cut them in half. Did the same thing with my cardstock, which was 8.5 by 11. Cut it in half and then snip these little corners off to make a tag shape, and then use a corner rounder to round your corners if you want to do that. Okay? Get this glued down. Turn it over and check for alignment. That looks good. Oops. And then press it down really good. Flip it back over again, tag front, and so now we want to add a tag back. Flip it again. I hope this is beginning to make sense. All right, so before we add the tag, we want to add a fabric strip. This time a tag front. Another thing that you can do, if your sewing machine will allow it, is to attach all the tags together and hinged and everything, totally complete, and then run these stitch lines around the tags. Then that makes it even more secure. Not that the glue is not secure, because it is. The problem is, unless your tags are smaller than what I've got here, it becomes a little bit difficult to do all the flipping and turning, depending on the amount of throat space you have in your sewing machine. I've done it. It's definitely doable, but it can be a little bit challenging. All right, so here we have a tag back, and now we're going to add another tag front right here. Flip it. Add another fabric strip. Add a tag back. This one doesn't want to line up really good, but that's okay, because you can just snip that little edge off. And I'll do that in a little bit. All right. All right, so we're going to flip it again. And now we're going to add a tag back. Flip it. Add another fabric strip. And add a tag front. Check the other side. And that looks good. Now give it a good press. Flip it. Add a tag front. Let's get this in camera, in frame, I mean. Okay, flip it. And because this is the last tag, we don't need to add a fabric strip this time. I should have waited to glue this after I flipped it. All right, line that up. Check this side for our alignment. Give it a good press. Let me snip that off. Okay. So this is my front, and we're just going to fold it accordion style like this. Okay. That's what it looks like. It's glue seepage. Okay. So that's the front, the back of that tag, the next page, the next page, the next page, and then that's the back of the journal. And now, open it up, and now we're looking at the other side. So I think if you are a beginner, these are actually pretty easy to make. It only gets confusing if you have a specific front and a specific back, and making sure that you are doing everything in order. So if you do everywhere you have a front, next to it is going to be a back, a front, next to it is a back, a front, next to it is a back, and so on. That's the most difficult part. Okay, so like I said before, these little areas here where you can actually sew in a journal, some journal pages in each one of these little areas on both sides, if you want to do that. I'm actually going to, I usually sew in 2 or 3 journals. I don't sew one in every one of those little hinges. That gets to be too much. So this journal right here that I made off camera is actually 10 cards, 10 tags, I mean. So you can see how thick it is before I even, it looks like about 1 inch before I even decorate it. It'll get a little puffier, but these things lay really flat. Okay, so I'm actually going to decorate this journal here off camera, and then I'll come back and do a flip through. I'll do the same thing on this little prototype that we made as well. All right. Okay, I hope everyone enjoyed that tutorial and will give one of these tag journals a try. They are a lot of fun to make. So right now I'm going to walk you through how I decorated mine. It is just tied with a piece of sari silk. On the front of the journal, there is a envelope or pocket of sorts. I did not use an envelope. I made it from some of the decorative paper, and I cut a hole using an oval die cut. And here's the tag that's inside of there, and I just attached a butterfly to the front of it, and that's the back. I did not glue this all the way down, so there's another tag tucked in behind that. Okay. All right. So you open up the first page, and you have a little tuck here with a little quote. And inside there is a tag. And then this is an envelope that I made out of vintage ledger paper from the 1940s. And inside is just a little notepad made with tea-dyed papers. And I cut the ledger paper down to 8.5 by 11 and ran it through my printer and printed a floral on the front of it. It's just a piece of vintage book page and a tag and a label on the front there. Okay, and on this page, another little triangle tuck with some lace and bling. And I have this tag. This tag. And this one. Flip it over again. We have another tuck. And this is a little ticket down here in the corner with some bling and some little miniature tags. And then these two tags. And then here is a journal, some journal pages that I sewed in. I think I sewed in 4 journal signatures. They are 4 pages, 4 pages each, so a total of 16 pages front and back. They are not decorated. Here's the center. Okay, here's another tuck, and I used a ticket to make my little tiny tuck with these 2 tags. And here, another tag with a little charm hanging off. And this is just an envelope. Both of these from the kit. Turn it again, here's another tuck. And I just glued a floral die cut there. There's another tag. Some tickets. And another tag. Some of these tags are from my stash. All right, and over here we have a pocket with some lace trim and some more bling, some cheesecloth, a label, and another little label there. And inside we have some more tickets, a tag from my stash, a tag from the kit. Turn it again. Here's another tuck with some lace trim and some bling. We have another tag, another envelope, and a floral tag. Here's another signature. Another pocket with these tags. Here's another pocket. This is just some ribbon and bling on the bottom and some labels, an old book page. And here is a waterfall with some journaling space. I think these are really cool. Okay, and then it's just tied with some green seam binding. Okay, and then now we're at the back of the journal, and so we start over again. So open it up, and here is another tuck with these pockets. Again, I'm using not only tags from the kit, but tags from my stash too. This is just a little sticker, postage stamp sticker, faux stamp. A pocket. And we have some cheesecloth, old book page, and a butterfly with some little rhinestones on his back and some lace trim. Tag with a little gemstone there, and a gas check with this floral sticker on it. Okay, flip it again. And here's the next signature. Here's a pocket with a floral sticker and some lace trim with these tags. This is another tag from my stash. Flip it. We have another little side tuck here with some bling and lace with these tags. This is journaling card, another journaling card. Here's another tuck. I have a label and a butterfly. Okay, here's the next signature. This tuck with these labels and journaling cards. Another gas check. And now we're back to the front of the journal. Okay, I also mentioned at the end of the tutorial that I was going to decorate this one that I used for the tutorial, and I'm going to do so, but once I've decorated it, I will come back and do another flip through of this one. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and again, I hope you will give this project a try. It's really fun, and even after it's been decorated and filled up with all kinds of ephemera, it's still not too thick. Here's the side view, the other side, and it just lays pretty flat. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone has an awesome day. Thank you again. Bye.